In a rare and contentious move, the United States has imposed sanctions on Hungarian Minister Antal Rogán, a close ally of Prime Minister Viktor Orbán. This decision marks a significant escalation in the already strained relationship between the two NATO allies, with the US accusing Rogán of playing a pivotal role in systemic corruption within Hungary's political system. The US sanctions, enforced under the Global Magnitsky Act, have shocked many, as it is the first time such action has been taken against a sitting minister in an allied country. This unprecedented move raises serious questions about the future of U.S. Hungary relations. The U.S. Department of the Treasury confirmed on Monday that Rogán was sanctioned for his role in systemic public corruption, with the U.S. accusing him of enriching political allies through his governmental position.
For too long, senior government officials in Hungary have used positions of power to enrich themselves and their families, moving significant funds from the public purse into private pockets. It is no accident that when one peruses the list of Hungary's richest, hovering near the top are the family and friends of the leaders of Hungary's government. Those closely connected to the ruling political party have acquired massive empires of holdings. Antal Rogán is a primary architect, implementer, and beneficiary of this system of corruption. The United States has repeatedly emphasized our concerns both privately and publicly about corruption and its impacts in Hungary.
This action marks a rare occurrence within NATO. The sanctions add fuel to ongoing tensions between Hungary and the US, further complicating Hungary's position in the alliance, which is founded on collective defense. Hungary, under Orbán's leadership, has frequently clashed with the West, notably over its stance on the ongoing Ukraine conflict and its complicated relationship with the European Union.
Just as Hungary is a sovereign nation, so is the United States. And the United States has made the sovereign decision to protect the U.S. financial system from facilitating wide-scale corruption. Finally, I'd like to say a word to the Hungarian people. This is a moment that the United States hoped we would never reach. We take no pride in having to resort to actions like this with an ally. We take this action with our shared interests foremost in our mind.
Hungary's position within the EU has become increasingly controversial. It currently ranks poorly on Transparency International's 2023 Corruption Perception Index, signaling deep concerns over corruption and democratic backsliding. The EU has already withheld over €1 billion in aid due to Hungary's failure to meet necessary anti-corruption benchmarks, highlighting the strain in Hungary's relationship with its Western partners.
The European Union has taken action in response to these concerns. Today we act because accountability and transparency are essential to preserving the U.S. Hungary relationship and a democratic Hungary's relationship with its allies. While today we act against Antal Rogán, who plays an important role in this system of corruption, there are many others involved. Today's action is an important step to address this serious challenge.
Hungarian officials, including Foreign Minister Péter Szijjártó, have sharply criticized the sanctions, accusing the US of attempting to undermine Hungary's sovereignty. In a Facebook post, Szijjártó decried the sanctions as politically motivated and warned of negative consequences. At the center of the controversy stands Viktor Orbán, whose alignment with US President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin has increasingly isolated Hungary from its Western allies. Orbán, a vocal critic of U.S. President Joe Biden's handling of the Ukraine war, has suggested that U.S. financial interests, especially those of arms manufacturers, are prolonging the conflict. Orbán has voiced hope that Trump's return to the White House would result in a shift in U.S. foreign policy, favoring a more Hungary-friendly stance and a peaceful resolution to the Ukraine conflict.
Now, what you're saying, that there are two U.S. presidents, one pro-war and one pro-peace, is causing confusion. So everyone knows that President Trump is coming and will make attempts at peace. And here we have the incumbent, if we're talking straight, the incumbent U.S. president, supported by the Soros people, the Soros-Georgi international power groups, who wants to curb the scale of the war and increase the subsidies. And there are also things that happen here that we should not pass by without saying something, because they could affect us one day.
The sanctions on Rogán are yet another chapter in Hungary's increasingly fraught relationship with the US and the EU, where Orbán's growing ties with Russia are seen as a serious cause for concern. Despite being a NATO member, Hungary's foreign policy, particularly its alignment with Moscow, continues to put it at odds with both the EU and the US, leaving it in a precarious position. The tensions between Hungary and the US have now reached a tipping point. The sanctions on Rogán signal a shift in US policy and serve as a warning about Hungary's ongoing defiance of Western norms and values. For Orbán's government, the road ahead is uncertain. The US sanctions and the broader international pressure will likely influence Hungary's actions in the coming months. Hungary's ongoing struggles with corruption, democratic principles, and its controversial foreign policy decisions may force the country to reassess its place within NATO and the EU. As Hungary navigates its internal and external challenges, it remains to be seen whether it will adapt its foreign policy or continue along its defiant path, potentially altering its future in Europe and beyond.